Thank you for that. Okay, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Contrary, carried. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's now 12:30. I'm going to take a risk of going back and seeing if we can get through item 9 before you have lunch.
Can I make a suggestion, Your Worship?
Yes.
We've got the union guys sitting outside, and Andy Baker, the champion of the unions. But I wonder whether it would be better to hear that item first, in the assumption that it might not be as long and winded and intricate as our quarterly report.
If the room's happy with that, I just wanted something that was relatively short to fill in before lunch, but we could even invite the union to join us over a bowl of soup we have today. And so, as champion of the soup eating union supporters, okay, on that basis, we're going to jump around to the item associated with that, which is number what?
11. Item 11. Go on that way. No.
This is 12. As champion of the union, would you like to invite them in? And so we're going to do this now. Right. Here we are. Right. Welcome, Grant, Phil, Chris, and all those to the table. This is pretty good. You've done what we asked you, so thank you very much. I'm going to move this, and Councillor Filippina might like to second this, as he's had a bit of a... Councillor Filippina, would you like to second this? He just might. In his absence, the Deputy Mayor will, but we'll give Alf an opportunity. He has been a bit involved in this anyhow. Councillor Filippina works for us. Councillor Darby's was overseas at the time. An agreement will be signed at the first tripartite forum meeting. So, team, lead this off. Who's speaking here?
Thank you, Mayor. So you're being asked to approve the tripartite accord, which builds on the agreement which was agreed during the RTP. The accord formalises the relationship between the Council, the Port of Auckland and the Port Unions. It sets out shared principles like mutual respect, transparency, commitment to health and safety. It establishes a tripartite forum, which we have structured out. It's not on. So as I was saying, that the forum establishes a forum as well, which is a structure for how we will work together going forward. It was developed through a consensus-driven process, as evidenced by representatives on the port and the union here, and I worked well together to come up with this document. So it's really here to seek your approval and to delegate responsibility to the Mayor to sign it at the upcoming first forum meeting. And with that, I'll just pass on to representatives from the union and the port just to say a few words in support.
Thank you, Philip Doak. I'm the General Manager of People down at the port. Look, the turnaround at the port has been very successful. It's really been based on great relationships that we've built with the union and with the shareholder over time. So what this does for the port is to provide a bit of concrete to embed the principles that we've used and develop those relationships. We're very grateful for the opportunity. We think it'll work well.
Come on, Muns.
Yeah, kia ora koutou, ko Grant Williams toku ingoa. I'm the kai whakahaere for the Maritime Union of New Zealand Local 13, but not only in this capacity am I representing the workers at the port. Also the Merchant Services Guild, also the Aviation and Marine Engineers Association, and Tampi. So not just ourselves, but other workers. I'd even go so far to as the non-union workers, customs, biosecurity. These are all the jobs that have been impacted from this arrangement. And I really want to take this opportunity to thank the Mayor and the councillors and this governing body for the decision they made in the past that's allowed us to have the relationship, show you that New Zealand management and New Zealand workers can give you international results. And you don't have to sell the family silverware to get it. And that's really one thing I want to thank all of you for that opportunity to, the proof is in the pudding. So we've been able to deliver the results by working objectively, communicating, and it's a real success. And I want to acknowledge all the councillors and all you officials. I understand the work that you do, and this whole process has given us an insight into the important work you do as a council, and what's required as a community and as members or citizens of Auckland, ratepayers of Auckland, to get things done. So I just want to thank you all for that opportunity, and that we recognise that the good work that this council has done. And this is a non-binding accord, but I'm hoping that the basis of the understanding and the relationships will show that it can endure for a long period of time. So thank you once again. Kia ora koutou.
Well, that's very positive, thanks. Seen of a long line of meetings and nodding, and even my grumpy mate there smiling, so that's a positive sign. He's been trying not to for ages, but I reckon I could beat him down. Councillor Furley wants to say something.
Question. Kia ora, thank you for that, and really glad to hear that, it is so positive. But my question is, because it's not legally binding or enforceable, what happens in the unlikely event that Auckland Council or one of the other parties, but I'm really interested to hear what happens if Auckland Council was to breach the accord? What remedies, if any, are available? Kia ora.
Well, I'll jump in here and you can come and save the day if I say something wrong. But the essence of it is the high performance, high engagement relationship. So the reality is we walk into it with our eyes open and having high expectations of not only ourselves but the other partners. So if something like that did happen, we would go back to square one, which is explaining the science, the maths, the economics, which is part of the argument that got us here in the first place, that we can run the port just as well as any other through, good management and good relationships. So it's not the end of the world. We're hoping that the relationships forged now and the way we've done it now will be robust enough and enduring enough that those types of things will not happen. And everyone will know what side their bread's buttered in the situation. That's my view.
Yes, I agree with what Grant has to say there, but the point of the accord is that it is defining how you go about doing things rather than necessarily what you are doing. So it's a very highly morally binding accord. It will come out, hopefully coming out of it, there might be legally binding decisions, but we have a colloquial saying that you can disagree without being disagreeable, and that's fine. We're not always going to agree. It will be hard work. We'll have to look at some very difficult issues, I'm sure. But just because we don't agree on a particular issue doesn't mean that the accord and the way that we approach issues can't be sustained over a longer period of time. And we believe that as a result of that, and we've shown we can get better results. So it's a bit of heart and resolve that goes into this from a moral point of view.
Yeah, this doesn't say there wasn't going to be any issues to be solved. This is the way in which we're going to do it. That was a good question from a lawyer, so that might...
It's quite
can
a
solve
Pacific
things
approach.
by
It's a very
talking.
Polynesian way of approaching decision making. Kia ora.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Ferry, out there somewhere.
Kia ora, and sorry, I'm not going to turn my camera on because I've unfortunately had to return to hospital and it's all a bit ugly to look at. I just wanted to ask if maybe a little bit of reflection from the port leadership and particularly from Grant around how you feel this reflects the evolution of progress at the port, because it's not that long ago that we had a very fractious relationship between the port managers and the workers. And we had lockouts and all sorts of things. And many of us will remember that, particularly in the first term of Auckland Council. So I wondered if you just would offer a quick reflection, please, on how this reflects that journey and where we've got to of a more collaborative approach that includes rather than excludes workers. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. This does reflect probably the biggest innovation that management have brought to the port around, changes to the way that we relate to our workforce. And it was a conscious decision that Roger Gray brought, and it's been, implemented by, forging good relationships with the unions by, as Grant referred to earlier, being transparent. And so it's about getting the workforce and the people who are impacted by the issues more involved in the decision making, and having conscious processes that are uniform on how we approach issues at each time. So it's no surprises. It's the ability to sit down and talk with the union when we know that there's an issue that needs to be resolved, and to get the workforce, to provide their interests and the organisation's interests and try to reach a mutual solution going forward. I mentioned earlier that it's all about how we approach the issues, not necessarily what the outcome will be. We believe that if we approach the issues well together and we listen well, we'll get a better outcome. But I'll leave to Grant to say, how they feel about, how the unions feel about the approach. But we have had no industrial action over the last 3.5 years, and we've been able to get through some really difficult issues that have been left unresolved by previous management. And as a result, the port is performing well, and has sustainable ways of dealing with the issues as they go forward.
I'll just, thanks, Phil. Just on that, when he says there's no industrial action from the union, I'd go the other way, actually. We're putting in 100% industrial action all the time. It's just positive in the relationship, in the talk, in the communication. So it's just a different way of looking at it. But I'll get my esteemed comrade here to just provide some contrast of the before and the now, and if you could.
Look, a really good question. And I guess the best way to answer this and how we go forward now is that our workforce has real confidence that there will be no surprises and there is no hidden agenda coming from management. So they're now starting to feel very confident that they have a long-term future in the port as workers. And they're also starting to understand more that it's not being set up for sale, and there is no other things in the outcome. And what they're understanding now is that the more that's returned, the better off they are, and the more that they're enjoying the social. They're feeling proud to be putting back into society, and that's so. Look, it's a very different atmosphere down there. If you worked in there, I mean, I've been involved in the industry for a long time and through those lockouts and everything like that. But you can now walk into the workforce and into the mess room and see people smiling again, and I haven't seen that for 15 years. But we also have a very diverse workforce now too. It has a high majority of Pacific workers, Māori workers, and a far smaller Pākehā contribution, and that I think has been to benefit to all of the groups. But it's a bright future. That's my view anyway.
Thank you. I won't make a comment more later, but if I could just say, really, really appreciate the willingness that the union and the port management have come to this with, and your leadership on it, Mr. Mayor. And just to note, it might be something that we could learn from for some other parts of the council family. Kia ora.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor Lee.
I just want to make a comment, if I could, Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
at the appropriate time.
Yeah, we'll put you down as comments. Councillor Watson, question?
Yeah, just firstly, really just put on the record appreciation for the leadership role the MUNs have played in recent times in terms of emphasising and capturing the importance of the port to the people of Auckland. So, you know, aside from the various groups involved for actually getting out there and representing the public interest, that was, you know, really appreciated. And I would also obviously congratulate everyone on how things are going, because it's great. The profits are up, there's great relationships, and our port is one of our real few bright spots. So thank you everyone involved in that. I just wanted to give a quick question on the accord itself, and particularly as it goes to the commitments, because, you know, the document is certainly a very positive document, makes some, you know, fairly highfalutin kind of commitments: mutual respect and consideration, commitment to collaboration, transparency, and no surprises. So I'm pretty sure that MUNs, there will be no surprises from MUNs, and they certainly won't be holding back and coming forward with everything. I'm thinking probably more of our involvement in terms of that no surprises commitment, which I think is really important. Obviously, I'm assuming that if there's any discussions or work beginning within council for anything to do with the port, that's out on the table right from the word off. Is that a fair assumption to make? Under this no surprises, and I say that because not in the port, but in some of the other aspects, there have been some big surprises at times. So I'm assuming any council-related work to do with ports is out in the open and brought to the attention of all the parties in the accord. Is that a correct assumption?
Yeah, that is the pretty accurate assumption. Any matters that involve the parties, the accord says that there is a no surprises policy, so we'll bring it to the parties.
At the very outset.
Appropriate time.
Very outset.
Next question, Councillor Sayers.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, look, I just want to ask a question around, I guess, the longevity, right? Because I'm getting the impression there's a lot of heart, soul, spirit being built up. A lot of that's intangible. It's just part of a culture now that's kind of changed and moved on, which is terrific. And sometimes that's due to both formal leadership and informal leadership, you know, around the site. So going forward, what safeguards are in there that it's protected? Like if a CEO changes or board changes or people in management change or people within the union leadership changes, those type of things, could there be a risk that progress that you've made so far could possibly be lost? So is there any kind of safeguard in there that you're able to share or know about, or how's it work going forward, I guess, so it stays strong?
Well, the real answer is there's no safeguard. It's all reliant on the genuine engagement of the parties involved, and for each one of them in the tripartite group to keep an eye on each other and keep each other honest. But I think the fact that we've wanted to go into this shows a willingness in the first instance, and then even though the accord's non-binding, like was brought up before, the expectation is that we will do our best to meet it. And I know it might sound a bit tentative or not rock solid, but what we also find is that it's more genuine and objective in terms of our engagement and more genuine. So there's no safeguard other than our willingness to help each other make this port work. It wasn't that long ago we were talking past each other, not listening, confrontational, and now that we've worked together, we had a workforce that was, there was branding issues with the port at the time and relationship with the workers. Now they can wear the ports of Auckland proudly, and that, Rogers and his crew's done a really great job in creating that trust. And I think once you've gone from one state to this state, it'll be, one, you're hypersensitive to a change, and two, you're not willing to, you don't want to lose it. So I think we just got to keep the momentum up and keep an eye on each other and trust each other to play the game properly as, for the people of Auckland as grown-ups. There you go, that's my attempt at it.
Well said, thank you.
I think it's a very, very good answer, Madam Chair, and one that kind of gives me an impression, rightly or wrongly, that it goes far deeper than just the leadership. It's right down at the deepest levels inside the organisation that they want to hold on to and keep it moving forward. So congratulations, yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. Look, there's no further questions, so I'll ask you to step back, and then I'll offer councillors an opportunity to say anything should they wish. Councillor Filipaina, the seconder of this resolution, would you like to lead off?
Tēnā koe, Deputy Chair. Kia ora koutou. I just wanted to acknowledge the Mayor, the Mayor's office, obviously the unions, want to acknowledge the unions and those that have been involved in this. I remember the first meeting, Mr. Mayor, I remember the first meeting that we had in your office up in the meeting room. Oh, hello, Deputy Mayor again. I just remember that first meeting, and also the fact that I ended up on that on the discussion. So look, the environment with all the meetings we've had post that first meeting on level 27, can I just say that the environment there was one of honesty, and again, I just want to acknowledge all those, our facilitator that came through, Chris, I'm mihi to you and to the unions and the ports, and again, thank you so much, and look forward to what develops post the election in regard to this record. Ngā mihi kia koutou katoa to those involved. Kia ora, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks very much for that. I think we're ready to, Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and congratulations, and credit is due to your own role in this accord. Congratulations to the Chief Executive, Mr. Gray, Port Management, and to the members, hardworking members, efficient, productive members of the Maritime Union of New Zealand. It is because of this radical transformation in relations between the company and its workforce that the workforce has become so productive and efficient that the Ports of Auckland is now commercially excelling, making well over $1 million a week. And of course, that's to the great benefit of this council and the people of Auckland, who are the 100% owners. The commercial excess is very much due to that positive relationship which this agreement signifies. Thanks to this relationship, hopefully we will not see the likes of the gentleman from Flagstaff Partners back again, nor the Sultan of Dubai, or Mr. Lee Ka-shing of Hutchinson's. So this augurs well for the future of Auckland. There has been a lot of talk about productivity recently, even around this council table. The government seems to be interested in productivity. When it comes to productivity, I think this council can learn a lot from Ports of Auckland and its workforce, particularly council construction contractors in terms of productivity and working smarter and efficiently and getting things done on time, on budget, can learn from what is happening with Ports of Auckland and its workforce. And I would make that point. So thank you for everyone involved in this arrangement. It certainly augurs well for Auckland. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you for that positive note. Councillor Hills, please.
Thanks, Mayor, and just want to congratulate everyone really for this. I mean, I think one of the big things from this term is this agreement and also the progress for the future of the port. And I know that yourself and Max Hardy, previous Chief of Staff in your office, and others, you know, a few of us, myself, Councillor Henderson, Ferry, others, approached you pretty soon that the proposal was forward around the separation. And I know that proposal didn't come from this term, it actually started last term, and we were immovable. And I'm sure other councillors said that there was no way we were going to support. And to your credit and to others in the organisation and the port, you all worked towards a type of agreement that would, A, get the revenues you were looking for to help our revenues as well, but also have an agreement with the union, which I think is pretty groundbreaking. And I've mentioned it before in this place, that the relationship has completely changed. We sat in this room a number of times last term and the term before around the deaths, around health and safety. I remember asking questions around the business case for automation, and I got told by leadership at the port that it was none of our business and to butt out. We had a number of us asking questions about health and safety, and we were also told it was basically, you know, we were separated from the port and it wasn't our business. And I think this has completely changed. And to have the relationship with the port and the people doing the work up on the ground and obviously well above the ground at times, you know, that dangerous work for our city to keep it going, and to have all those people around the table and have the trust of us, hopefully as well, working together is pretty significant, and it will pay long-term dividends, not only in the money, but in the health and safety ongoing, in the actual empowerment of those workers, but also the benefits of Auckland. And I think that don't underestimate what this term actually has done in a really positive way for the port. You don't have the headlines anymore. You don't have the negativity. You don't have the bashing heads. So I think from where we were even a couple of years ago, all the concerns about sale, that is all off the table, and this tripartite agreement will be long lasting. So just want to acknowledge the workers, acknowledge the port, the leadership, the changes there, and of course, acknowledge ourselves and everyone who was really passionate about this, including yourself, Mayor. So thank you very much, and I'm really, really happy to see this progress. So thank you.
Okay, thanks very much for that. I'll risk putting this vote. No? Who else was there? Oh, Councillor Bartley, you weren't on the list. You must be retiring and we haven't missed you. Oh, no, Councillor Foley hasn't missed one today. Gosh. You know, when you do come, we get a lot. Now, Councillor Size, do you really... Out of 10, what you say now, you guys? Got to be good. Let's go.
Okay. Thank you, Your Worship, and acknowledge your leadership here. I also acknowledge Roger Gray and his efforts to take the port from their strategy of regaining their mana to now strengthening their mana. And that's a testament to how he comes and presents to us, and he's always number one firm about the safety of the port workers and looking after your people. So I acknowledge him for that. I want to acknowledge the port workers because of their work. That port turns over multi-millions in dividends to the city, which we don't have to take from or we don't have to add to people's rates because they are making quite a lot of money for the city. And I think Grant got it right when he said you don't have to sell the family silver. So that is really good to see the, what we're getting out of the port. But I also want to acknowledge the Pacifica element to this. And I'm really proud when I talk about the Port of Auckland and the staff, the workers, because 60% of the people on the ground in the stevedores are Pacifica, mainly from Tuvalu because of their seafaring experience. So, really want to acknowledge that. I want to acknowledge Vanessa Bates-Wolfgram, who always includes myself, Councillor Fully and Councillor Filipaina to the Pacifica events they hold there, celebrating their staff. So we go along and we meet everyone. And Tessa Aoelua, who's the General Manager, the only Pacifica in their senior management and woman, and her role as General Manager of the containers and engineering. So, great having Muns here, acknowledge Muns and all the work they do, and thank you to the port workers for what they do for the city.
That's a pretty good effort. Thank you very much, Councillor Foley.
Kia ora, Chair, and I just wanted to add my voice as well of congratulations to getting to this point, especially acknowledging Roger Gray, as we've heard from everybody else. I think he's really been the difference in this equation, acknowledging his ability to open up, reach out across to our unions and here to the governing body, and also mana whenua and our Pacific communities to make that very, very real difference on the ground. I have had the pleasure of going along to meet the staff, and the environment is so different from in the past when I've gone down for a protest, for example, just after the unfortunate death of a resident from my ward. So it's like night and day down there now, and I really appreciate the difference that our unions working together with our port management have made. I do want to also say, though, that this accord is very positive and I'm very grateful for it, but I do hope that it is in some way going towards future-proofing the ports for any future sell-off or lease-off as our final major strategic asset that is left in the hands of Aucklanders. I really hope that that's what this is. I'm not sure if it is because it's not legally binding, but I hope that it is. And I recognise too and acknowledge this Pacifica Polynesian way of working that you've established here, being able to disagree and not be disagreeable. That's my mantra as a politician. That's how I live my life here at this table, and reaching a consensus as much as you can, working together. Kia ora, thank you.
Okay, and lastly, Councillor Sayers.
Yeah, just to finish off, probably a slightly different angle. It's the workplace has been created for the people that work there, and the joy of people want to come to work and do a good job, and they want to feel like they want to go to work because it's a nice place to go and work at. So I don't think you could have created a better gift for the people down there on a day-to-day basis that they take home, They enjoy them, they take that home with them and strengthens their families. I know you can't really single out perhaps one person because I've heard it's been a lot of trust and developed amongst a lot of people, but for somebody to bring it together and facilitate it is probably a very key role in all of this. So, Chris, I just wanted to mention you as to facilitate and bringing it together. Just want to acknowledge that. So well done, but well done to everybody, really. So thank you. Yeah.
Okay. I'm at the risk of, I'll say teeny bit. I haven't had quite a lot to do with the workers at the wharf. Back when I played for Te Papa, I was only one of the two in the forward pack who wasn't a wharfie. So I've found it no trouble at all to be involved with this. I am going to move this. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. To the contrary, carried. And with that, we're going to break for a lunch until 1:45 because we've got to reset our system. And I would like to invite the four of you to join us for luncheon. And at the risk of alienating all the National Party voters, I'll have a photo with you guys. Okay? Thanks.